Hello and welcome back to Bible Break. And today we're continuing really with the story of Jacob and Esau. We're in Genesis chapter 27, and we'll read the first 23 verses of chapter 27. And as I usually do, I'll try to pick out some of the one or two at least of the salient points that emerge from our reading. So reading from the NIV as usual. Genesis 27, verse 1. And the subheading in my NIV is Jacob gets Isaac's blessing. When Isaac was old and his eyes were so weak that he could no longer see, he called for Esau, his older son, and said to him, "My son." "Here I am," he answered. Isaac said, "I'm now an old man and don't know the day of my death. Now then, get your weapons, your quiver and bow, and go out to the open country to hunt some wild game for me. Prepare me the kind of tasty food I like and bring it to me to eat, so that I may give you my blessing before I die." So Isaac wants Esau to do for him what he has always done, which is go out hunting and then come back with what he's got, and then cook it up to prepare a nice meal for his dad. Verse 5. Now Rebekah, Isaac's wife, Rebekah, Jacob and Esau's mother. Now Rebekah was listening as Isaac spoke to his son Esau, also her son. Of course, they were twins, Jacob and Esau, remember. When Esau left for the open country to hunt game and bring it back, Rebekah said to her son Jacob, "Look, I overheard your father say to your brother Esau, 'Bring me some game and prepare me some tasty food to eat, so that I may give you my blessing in the presence of the Lord before I die. Now, my son, listen carefully and do what I tell you. Go out to the flock and bring me 2 choice young goats, so I can prepare some tasty food for your father, just the way he likes it. Then take it to your father to eat, so that he may give you his blessing before he dies." Jacob said to Rebekah, his mother, "But my brother Esau is a hairy man, and I'm a man with smooth skin. What if my father touches me? I would appear to be tricking him," which is, of course, what he would be doing, "and would bring down a curse on myself rather than a blessing." His mother said to him, "My son, let the curse fall on me. Just do what I say. Go and get them for me." He really is her favorite, isn't he, Jacob? So he went and got them and brought them to his mother. And she prepared some tasty food just the way his father liked it. Then Rebekah took the best clothes of Esau, her older son, which she had in the house, and put them on her younger son, Jacob. She also covered his hands and the smooth part of his neck with the goat skins. Then she handed to her son Jacob the tasty food and the bread she had made. He went to his father and said, "My father." "Yes, my son," he answered. "Who is it?" So obviously Isaac's hearing is gone as well as his sight has gone. Jacob said to his father, "I am Esau, your firstborn. I have done as you told me. Please sit up and eat some of my game so that you may give me your blessing." Isaac asked his son, "How did you find it so quickly, my son?" "The Lord your God gave me success," he replied, which is true in a very real sense, but not in the sense that, the question that Isaac is put into him. There's today's pollen count. "Yes, the Lord your God gave me success," Jacob replied. Oh, excuse me. Then Isaac said to Jacob, "Come here so I can touch you, my son, to know whether you really are my son Esau or not." So Isaac's doing his best to check things out and make sure of things here. Jacob went close to his father Isaac, who touched him and said, "The voice is the voice of Jacob, but the hands are the hands of Esau." He did not recognize him, for his hands were hairy like those of his brother Esau. So he blessed him. Boom. Well, what can we say about all this? When you really get back to the Bible and really read the Bible and study the Bible, what you notice is that there is so much in it, and this story that we're looking at here now is the most classic example of what I'm talking to you about right now. We see that if you thought that the Bible was just a handbook for conventional morality, then you see with a story like this just how far short and how far wide of the mark you are in your thinking about Christianity, certainly about the Bible and what it shows and what it teaches. Because from a simple, straightforward moral point of view, what Rebecca and Jacob are doing here is inexcusable, reprehensible, even. Deceiving dad, tricking dad into blessing the wrong person. They can't possibly, from a normal moral standpoint, and just reading, taking this story at face value, which is the way we should always take them, of course, there doesn't appear to be any justification for the way that Rebecca and Isaac behave. However, Christianity, as I am telling you, is so much more than that. It's so much more than just being good or just being nice. There's far, far more to it than that. And what we are looking at here ultimately boils down to God's choice, God's plan, and how it will work out and play out by hook or by crook. And it's Jacob, the usurper, the cuckoo, if you like, in the nest, who is going to win through here. The normal playbook is you can throw that out the window. It doesn't apply here. Conventional morality doesn't apply here. It's God's choice, God's plan that will be executed, come what may. Now, to offset what I've been saying about Rebecca and Jacob's behavior here in deceiving Dad, there may be one or two things that we have to remind ourselves of. In the first instance, you will recall, let's just go back over the whole saga. Jacob was himself the usurper from the beginning. You remember at the birth how he had hold of Esau's heel because he didn't want Esau to be, to be the first one to be born even and have that birthright of the eldest son. From the beginning, at the birth, he had hold of his heel. So the story goes. And then we recall how he took advantage of Esau's hunger when Esau was coming back from the fields one day to get him to sell him his birthright. And Esau did that, we know that. So that's what's gone before this. But it appears as though Esau might have forgotten about all that because he's now doing what his dad requests of him so that he may give him the birthright and the blessing that goes with it before he dies. In the meantime, I would be very surprised if Jacob hadn't spoken about that previous episode with his elder brother while he was, working with Mum or being with Mum in the kitchen, while Esau was out running around in the fields. And so, really, whilst we cannot excuse the way they carry on, and there's no indication that they hadn't explained to Isaac what had happened. Isaac might have had a go at Jacob for buying or having Esau sell his birthright. There's no indication that Isaac is aware of anything. But I suppose contractually you could say the birthright does actually now belong to Jacob. But because Esau appears to have forgotten it, perhaps Isaac has never even been aware of it, but Jacob and Rebecca know. And Jacob is Mummy's boy. Not a good thing, once again, from the point of view of conventional morality or advice that you might give to parents, let's say, certainly not a good thing to have favourites amongst your children. But it's clear that Rebecca's on Jacob's side. So they're going to usurp Esau here again. And they're going to do something quite unusual, as we just read about their trick and their plan, their idea for getting round the problem. And they're going to do what they have to do to get the blessing. Like I say, it's almost like a fairy story in terms of the actual sort of crux of the matter. Because the crux of the matter isn't what this individual or that individual does or doesn't get up to. The real crux of the matter is on whom is the blessing going to fall. And that's why I finished at verse 23 with boom, Isaac giving Jacob his blessing. The blessing does not depend upon anyone other than the person, the one who is conferring the blessing. And the critical thing is on whom will this blessing fall, as alternately on whom might the curse fall, or at least the blessinglessness fall. So, as he has always done, the wild man Esau out in the fields, running around, hunting, doing what he's always done. In the meantime, and we were told, of course, for Esau that he had despised his blessing when he sold it to Jacob. In the meantime, Jacob had his eye on that blessing, cherished it, has never forgotten about it, and now, with the advice and the help of his mother, he is prepared once again to do what it takes to get that blessing. He'll do whatever it takes, at the risk of being cursed by his father, if the ruse, if the plot doesn't work out. So, I don't know, what lesson would you draw from this, other than just that? What matters to you, and what you would be prepared to do to defend it or ensure that you get it? How far you would be prepared to go, what you would be prepared to risk for that. And I'll leave you with that, those questions. We're going to obviously carry on from where we left off and with the same story next time around. Have a good one.